What is it, Witcher?
Who is that girl?
Cynthia, a leashed sorceress.
A charming expression. Do you also use muzzles?
Leash means a connection between a sorceress and her assistant. An unfortunate term, I admit, but it explains how things are. Cynthia can tap my power, use my spells. She's a conduit. And she's learning along the way. It's convenient, and except for the name, not derisive at all. But you're not here to talk about Cynthia.
How is it that King Radovid's court sorceress and advisor is supporting rebellion in Edirn?
This has grown into more than a simple rebellion, Witcher. Prince Stennis' arrival here confirmed Saskia's right to represent Edirn.
Saskia isn't fighting for Edirn, but for the Pontar Valley. Even Prince Stennis considers you rebels. He hasn't moved against you because war with Kedwen hangs by a thread. Why are you here, Sorceress of Tretogor?
It is my duty. If Henselt occupies the Pontar Valley, Redania and Temeria will respond strongly. The North will disintegrate, its unity gone. A dark scenario that is nevertheless avoidable, provided Saskia is successful and wins the Valley's independence.
Even if she thwarts Henselt, there'll be no independence without agreement from Redania and Temeria.
Temeria's expansionist plans melted away with Foltest's death. Redania's ruler is unpredictable, but even he'll have to respect a victory. I'm here to make this victory a fact.
A sorceress like you ought to know bundles about the wild hunt.
A sorceress's knowledge has nothing to do with superstitions.
The hunt's not a superstition.
True, the phenomenon seems to exist.
I want to know everything there is to know about it.
It's strictly atmospheric. It doesn't interest me. Just as whirlwinds, whirlpools, and snowfalls do not interest me.
Have you heard about a Witcher's school? Apparently the Viper's their sign.
No. Why do you ask?
The Kingslayer wears a medallion adorned with a viper.
Pretentious and childish for my taste. He can't be very smart.
Is what they say true? Did Saskia kill a dragon?
Prince Stennis decorated her for it at the court in Vengerberg, so it appears to be true. If you want to know the details, talk to Biggerhorn. Apparently he witnessed it.
I'm looking for Triss. Letho forced her to teleport near Vergen.
Letho?
Foltest's killer, perhaps Demavend's too. Will you help me find her?
Certainly. We sorceresses must stick together. We have too many enemies.
Triss contacted you through Sheila de Tanzerville's megascope while in Flotsam.
And I haven't heard from her since.
Can you locate her?
A megascope responds to a person's aura. If I had something of hers, I could find her. You were close to her. Maybe you have something.
No, I don't have anything.
Not good. Wait. A local drunkard claims he saw a redhead fall out of the sky. This could be a lead.
I never heard of flying women before.
Perhaps they're just drunken delusions. It's possible, however, that an unstable teleport ejected Triss near the town.
As it's our only lead, I'll talk to this drunkard. Do you know him?
I'm not used to associating with drunkards, but you'll likely find him in the inn.
Thank you.
Come back as soon as you learn anything. You wanted to discuss something?
At the council, you mentioned artifacts were needed to undo the curse.
But I can't look for them now.
I can do that.
Why?
I have my reasons. Tell me something. What happened here 3 years ago?
Henselt attacked Edirn, but met his match. Nobody won that war. Sabrina Glefisig got into a conflict with the commander-in-chief of the Kedweni forces, and this led to both armies being routed. Fireballs turned the battlefield into a flaming tomb. Henselt accused Sabrina of using a forbidden weapon.
And Sabrina cursed Henselt.
I think so. I suspect the curse got out of hand because of the circumstances.
Circumstances? The stars weren't right, wrong phase of the moon? There's always an excuse for simple bungling.
She placed the curse while burning at the stake. Her hands and feet nailed to a wagon wheel. I'd say she did a good job, considering.
Did you notice? Not all the ghosts were aggressive.
Yes. Most just disappeared when they touched the aura of a living person.
I think the curse corrupts the ghosts of the fallen and turns them into draugrs.
Is that the Witcher's professional name for wraiths?
Draugrs are demons of war. They arise at sites of exceptionally vicious, bloody battles. Their bloodlust and hatred in condensed form.
Can you kill them by conventional means?
A silver sword is enough for a draugr, but as long as the curse remains active, new ones will arise. The soldiers' ghosts are the key. If I could turn the tide of the battle...
For that you'll need symbols of war belonging to those who fell in battle. Hatred, death, courage, and faith. All artifacts must be magically active and connected to the fallen, or they won't lure the ghosts.
Right. I'll look around.
Finding 2 will be enough. Get the symbols of hatred and death and leave the rest to me.
I'd prefer courage and faith.
Don't fuss.
I'll see what I can do. Cecil seems to know a lot about the area. Know anything about blood curses?
Do you?
We're dealing with a 4th level curse, also known as the Curse of the Archmistress.
Well, well, I'm impressed.
Thing is, until now I thought it was only a myth, that such a curse couldn't be cast.
You thought wrong. There are 6 confirmed cases of this curse being inflicted.
What about confirmed cases of it being lifted?
1. Achieved by a team of sorcerers led by Archmistress Francesca Finderbear, hence the curse's other name. Sabrina Glevezig was on the team.
Small world.
That's not all. The curse investigated by Francesca and Sabrina was designed to end the Tyson dynasty, the rulers of Kovir. They were cursed by Scarlet Rodalega, a complete madman, but very talented. An eclipse and wraiths also accompanied his curse.
So Sabrina's curse is just a knockoff Rodalega?
Exactly.
Can Francesca's experience help us?
Certainly. I know the symbols and the workings of the curse thanks to her.
Care to explain? I'm the one risking my neck.
You'll have to relive the battle and change its course at the right moment. I don't know exactly what will happen. Nobody does.
Huh. I'll look for those artifacts. I'm good for now. I'll let you know when I learn something.
So, you thought it over? I'm on my
Cecil, do you know anyone who fought in the war 3 years ago?
I did.
Did you fight here at Vergen?
Course.
Philippa claims you know a bit about the battle.
That old cook insult, called king by some, thought that Adernians were bumpkins who'd ship bricks as soon as his troops crossed the river.
Why did he attack Edern?
According to Henselt, Upper Edern is the ancient legacy of the Kedwenny crown and must be returned to the mother country. Brazen farter.
That brazen farter had a point. If you read some history, you'll know that 300 years ago this land belonged to Kedwen.
Load of crab. 700 years ago the elves reigned here, and 1,000,000 years ago these lands were the domain of the worms. If things worked that way, every king could invade a neighbouring land and claim his right to do so because an ancestor took a dump there.
All right. Hensel wanted to conquer Upper Edern. What then?
He rolled in, got hammered, and rolled out.
Cecil, that doesn't help me much.
It wasn't a battle. It was a slaughter. If I try speaking of it, I'll see it all again. I don't want.
The ghosts of the fallen fight in the mist. They turn into horrible creatures called draugrs. Eternians, Kedwenny, men, elves, and dwarves too.
Bloody hell. No peace even after death.
I want to help them, but I need to know more about the battle.
Very well. Listen. A beautiful day that grew hot later. Very hot. When Vandergrift attacked in the afternoon, he sent a dun banner at the fore. Many of our lads shit themselves at the mere sight of their standard, but we had a surprise of our own. Under the cover of night, we prepared fire pits. Our archers lit them up at the right moment. I still can't believe we managed to fool their scouts. If it wasn't for that ambush, we wouldn't be speaking today. They likely wouldn't be in Upper Edirn at all. We decimated the Dunbanner, but that was only the beginning. Seltkirk was our commander. Everywhere he appeared, the Kidwennies gave ground. He wreaked havoc among them. Hearts rose at the mere sight of his armour. Then Vandegrift himself entered the fray. Seltkirk met him in the middle of the field. In the end, Vandegrift killed Seltkirk. A terrible death that sent the Edirnian ranks into disarray. I thought it was the end of us. Then the sky fell, as if the stars themselves had decided to avenge the death of a great knight. Fire covered the battlefield. Nobody sought the enemy. They were all looking for somewhere to flee. Yes, there were no more friends and enemies, only the living and the dead. They say it was the doing of a Kidwenny sorceress who wanted revenge on Vandegrift. Could be true, as Henselt had her executed right after the battle.
You saw the Kidwennies cross the river?
From afar, I saw Vandegrift leading 4,000 heavily armed men. Many a heart sank when we saw the elite bearheads or the armoured banners from Ardcarrig. The Dunbanner was in the middle, veterans of Brenna. As soon as he set foot on Edirnian land, Vandegrift climbed a hill and surveyed the area, as if it was his fief. Son of a bitch was as sure of himself as ever. Upon spying him, I remember the dwarves all dropped their trousers and showed him their asses. Then Seltkirk stepped out in front of us. His white armour shone in the sun. We were afraid a Kidwenny arbalist would shoot him, but they too stood as if frozen, and Seltkirk just looked at them and bowed ever so slightly.
Remember anything from before the battle?
As if it was yesterday. Henselt's troops crossed the Pontar the third day after the autumn equinox. Edirn had good spies, so we were ready for them, and Seltkirk lined up our troops along the hills. Our hearts rose at the sight of the banners of Vengerberg, Aldersberg and Gullet fluttering in the wind. Knights and armoured infantry side by side in our ranks. Even the peasants had their regiments. The dwarves were on the left flank. Over 5,000 strong we were. Nobody caring about race or background, like never before. Only King Demavend was missing, but he must have had more important business than defending his country.
You captured the Dunbanner standard?
Henselt's choice troops, and not a one survived. The visitor sent them to their deaths, refused to give them reinforcements. He was a monster in human form. The men of the Dun were real swaggerers. Killed a lot of our lads, but for every Dunner, there were 7 Edirnians. They had no chance. Aye, we captured their standard. We buried what was left of them in the crypts beyond Vergen. Their standard lies with them. Worthy foes are to be respected, even in death.
I'm going to need that standard. Did you see the duel between Seltkirk and Vandegrift?
I stood half a furlong from them. Never seen a fight like it. Probably never will again. They'd already met once, at a jousting tournament in Ardcarrig. Seltkirk won there. He beat on the visitor so hard he broke his sword. Seltkirk was a true knight, the last of his breed. Vandegrift was so pissed off after that tournament he hanged the smith who made his sword and ordered a special one from a sorcerer. I bet he cut down Seltkirk with that new sword.
Vandegrift is dead. What happened to his sword?
Saskia's got it. Good thing too. Only her hand can tame the hatred enchanted in that sword. After the battle, when the flames abated, the scavengers came. They stole everything. Imagine, not a single keepsake of Seltkirk in the whole of Edirn. His brother babbles something about a gauntlet, but he's a lying dog.
Thanks, Cecil, that was helpful. I think I know what I need to lift the curse now.
Madame Eilhard claims you need 4 symbols. The standard symbolizes death. Vandegrift's sword stands for hatred. What about the other 2?
I have a feeling Philippa has a handle on the rest.
Here's hoping you're right.
What's this? Clad in hues of green, amidst shrubs.
Let me tell you about the woman who fell from the sky.
I heard you saw something interesting.
As clearly as I see you. Amazing. I look into the sky. But wait, you must buy a fellow a drink for such a story.
Well, you shut it already. We could all recite this bullshit now.
I'm a client and I'll say what I want. Pour me some Mahakaman mead and no cheating. This noble wayfarer will pay.
I'm not about to buy a pig in a poke.
Not a pig, but a beautiful woman. And not in a poke, in the sky. You won't regret it.
Innkeeper, you said you could recite the story. Tell me.
If you pay for 2 bottles of mead, this drunkard guzzled.
The innkeeper's too dumb to tell such a beautiful story.
But he's sober. How much for those bottles?
This is no luxury establishment. Just look at the clientele. Same price you'd see anywhere.
Tell me.
A few days ago, a red-headed woman and a huge man appeared in the gullies, as if they'd fallen from the sky. The man left while a troll found the woman and took her deep into a ravine.
That's all?
No! I told you this tongue wagger would ruin my story.
That was exactly your story, just not embellished.
If you want to know the whole story, you'll have to pay for my mead.
I know all I need. Godspeed.
One freak bigger than the next.
Don't try anything.
I'll say it again. Humans are strange. Let's hear it.
Oh, another traveller. From where? Wait, let me guess.
From Temeria.
Had it at the tip of my tongue. So, what brings you to Bergen? Wait, I know.
Business.
Just what I thought. And you're...
A witcher.
Well, well. We don't often see witches here. What do witches do anyway?
We solve problems.
Oh, I have a problem with my boyfriend.
Did you find his entrails strewn on the porch and his head a few paces away? Because those are the kind of problems I solve.